MRecktv. Peace, worlds. M.Reck for MRecktv. You heard? I'm here with my partner, DJ Moeskieno, Unsung Heroes. Mo, what's happening?
Yo, what up, Rec? Salute. Peace, peace. Peace is superior, too.
Superior, what's happening, man?
Yeah.
We got my brother on the tap-in, Frank Lucas the son. Bro, what's happening?
Everything lovely, man. Everything lovely. It's about to be a whole lot of, whole lot. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it.
Yeah.
Let's get to it. So,
Hold up.
salute.
Hold up. Peace, DJ Moeskieno. Peace, Lord. How's everything with you, fam?
Peace. Everything's gravy, baby. How you, man?
Indeed, man. Been following you moving for a minute. For respect.
Much respect. I appreciate you,
Yes,
brother.
sir. Yes, sir. So, listen, Lord, we're going to get you reacting to this Gene Deal clip that's currently going viral. You know, he had a call on the show that brought up your pops in a situation with Diddy pops. So, Moeskieno, let's go to the videotape.
All right, bet. I got you covered.
My name is Dana, and I'm calling because I have a question for Gene.
All right, this is Gene Deal. State your question.
Okay, so Gene, I read that that Frank Lucas turned into an informant, and I want to know why is it that his Puffy's dad or Diddy's dad was killed as an informant when Frank Lucas was an informant himself?
Well, see, you got to realize is that Frank Lucas turned informant against police officers.
Oh.
You understand? He turned informant against police officers that were working for him. Diddy's father was killed because he tried to rat out the people that he was working for.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Okay, so also it said that he was mistaken as an informant.
It wasn't
true.
That's not true. It wasn't no mistaken shit. That's somebody that's trying to sell a story and say some other shit.
So, peace, Lord. You can pick up from there, man.
Right.
Let me know your reaction on that.
Well, I'm gonna tell you. Gene is super knowledgeable. He from, he from fault lines. Westchester, the Bronx. He understand real well. He got a lot of solid relationships out there. He knows what he's talking about, And so, he spoke pretty confidently. In terms of Melvin Combs, solid dude. You know what I'm saying? Without question, I think cats need to understand something. There's levels to levels, right? And in Harlem, you had guys that was making hundreds of thousands of dollars a day. That was regular guys. A regular guy can make $150,000 a day.
Correct.
You didn't have to be nothing super special to make that. You know what I mean? Then you had guys who were slightly more turned up and made $500,000 a day. Then you had guys like the old man and Nicky and Frank Matthews. Those guys were making they were making anywhere from 800 to maybe 1.25 a day, depending on what was going on. Depending on the situation. All through their own methods. And when we speak about these things, we're not glorifying anything. We're talking about the game and people's places in the game. Because at the end of the day, all we're talking about is history, right? So we're talking about the correct balance of the game, so to speak.
Correct. Got you.
Yeah. You want to ask any questions? Any specific questions?
Yeah. I was gonna say. So, was Gene right and exact what his answer to the caller?
Yeah. I mean, the answer is, here's the thing. Melvin used to be at the old man house because people know about, they know the old man. They don't know he used to have whole suites in the Waldorf Astoria. He had a whole floor in the Waldorf Astoria in the 70s. This is a fact. This is not my opinion. This is not me trying to, gas the story. I don't care about any of that because I'm not concerned for anyone's approval. You know what I mean? I come from this, so I know when I spoke before and I said I got receipts. I love all the comments, man. It's a beautiful thing because over time, everybody's gonna understand. We all gonna have they're gonna have a bowl of that soup called humble soup. So with that being said, as far as Melvin is concerned, Melvin was a solid dude. You know what I'm saying? As far as what he said that Freddie said about Melvin, right? I mean, I can't necessarily, I don't want to necessarily go into it, although I know the history of it. What I'm going to say is this, is that Melvin was neither at Frank's level, nor was he either at that, what I just said, that underlying, that mid-level hustler level of a guy getting 100. Melvin was getting money. He was getting money. You know what I mean? So I don't want anybody to try to make it seem as if Melvin wasn't getting. He was getting the bag. It's not like he wasn't getting the bag. He was one of those guys that was, you know, he wasn't as big as, let's just say, he wasn't as big as, say, Frank and Nicky, but he was in there. The Melvin was in there. He was getting some money, man. He wasn't no lame. He wasn't no lame. You know what I mean? You wasn't just gonna ride down on him. You know what I mean? It wasn't like that. So, as far as the thing about Melvin turning over whoever that was, I don't know. I know him and my father had some business, you know, and my pops loved Melvin. He used to come over to the house all the time at Yonkers. He used to come to the houses in Jersey, you know. And I keep telling people, you got to do your history when you start talking about Frank Lucas wasn't getting this, he wasn't getting that, dog. Why do you think he was in the movie Many Saints in Newark, bro? He wasn't just in Harlem. You know what I'm saying? We was all up and down the coast. He was all up and down the coast with it, you know. My uncles wasn't Frank Lucas, and they even had 37 crews in 29 states. At their height. You feel me? You know what I mean? They still had that. So, you know, he's the one that set the ball rolling. So imagine where the lanes was at. If you look at that old magazine article, the one that came out before the movie, the Return of Superfly, you'll see it talks about his properties in Detroit and, you know, Hawaii and in Puerto Rico and in Michigan and California. What do you think he had those properties there for? He wasn't on real estate. He was selling real estate. You know what I mean? So he was connected. He was connected, you know, on a certain level. And there was a time when Melvin got in trouble. You know, they came down on him. They rolled down on him, and they found, you know, they found two bricks in his car, and they took him.
Maybe I could show you how us Gary girls get down.
Thought you said this was the hood, not a war zone. You see that? That's the demon house niggas out here been talking about.
MRecktv.